hat blocks like this, one would refer to as fancy hat blocks. They don't have particularly a name. Like some blocks and hats we know very much as a Breton, beret, toque, what else? Bota. Hats like that are known throughout history, and it will stay. Crowns, brims, obvious. 5-section blocks we have just learned about. And fancy blocks, they go by fashion, in and out, by the designer, what they come up with. And with fancy blocks, it's very important to make a distinction between winter blocks and summer blocks. And what I mean by that is the material, felts and straws. So if you use for summer hats straws and cinnamon, the straw has a pattern. Some straws have a pattern in itself. The cinnamon can have a pattern in itself. So if you use a pattern straw on a fancy block, often the pattern works against the design and you lose the design, or it starts looking sort of not in balance. So therefore, blocks like this, for example, do really appreciate and see this. In felt, they would look fantastic. In straw, it loses some of its quality. It won't be as sharp because the straw has a weave. The linen weave works really well. But if this is a perisisal, and straw types, as we will be talking in another clip, the perisisal going round would definitely distort that shape. So that would be fancy. Now this one, cute little number, but imagine this to be blocked in cinnamon in one piece. Impossible. Imagine this to be blocked in a perisisal, a coarse sisal. To block this around here, very difficult, and you will lose again a lot of the sharpness. In a felt, in a beautiful beach bloom or mélocine, gorgeous. And this, do you want that to be in straw, or would you like that to be in cinnamon? It could look interesting, you can use it as a base, but if the block is what you love, if this is the important part, this would be a winter block for felt, for being sharp. If you only want it as a foundation, you can use any material. You know what that is? This is called a Sparterie. It's also known as willow in books. And what this is, it's woven willow, or as a grass which is harvested in the area of Spain, and there is a form on the internet you can download as a proper information on how a Sparterie is made. And it has got a very fine film of muslin on it. And this material becomes very shapeable. A Sparterie was used to make hat blocks. So if you wanted to try out a shape and you weren't sure if it's going to sell, you would make first up a shape from this, and then it would be given to the hat block maker if it was a successful seller, and he would transfer it into wood. Now blocks from a Sparterie look like this. They get made, remember that? 60s, Jackie Onassis. And they get stitched, they get reinforced numerous times inside, they get wired, and then they used to paint what's called a Sparterie lacquer over it. That hardened the whole material. And there would be a rope inside in order for somewhere the pins to pin into. So this is a design on its own. Remember that? 80s, with a bow in the front, a big one, the bigger the better. And if this wouldn't sell, then you didn't have the cost of a hat block, because they are very expensive. But you certainly can be as creative making a block because in matter of fact, you are making a hat you can reproduce over and over again. You have to be more careful. They are not as sturdy as the wooden hat blocks, but pretty sturdy. And I've got one to show you, which you might recognize. Remember that one? Queen Mother, late Queen Mother? That's actually her hat block. Rose Corey, who used to be my tutor for many years, and I owe a lot of my skills to, a woman who is technically quite incredible. She lives in England, in London, and has been the hat maker to the Queen Mum for many, 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 many years. She had the warrant, the royal warrant, and this block was a block Rose has made several hats on for the Queen Mum. And I am the proud owner, and so excited that I have it. Now this stack of wood could be used as a frisbee, not a frisbee though, called collars. And collars come in different sizes. They refer to your head fitting. So if you are 21.5-inch head, then you get a 21.5-inch collar. If you are 23-inch head, you get a 23 collar. If you don't have it, you improvise. Collars are used for brims like this one, where when you make a hat, you need a brim and a crown. The crown gets put to the brim. But in order to stitch it together, you need what is called a neck, which is the collar. So it's just like the human body. Body, brim, head, crown is connected by the neck, which is this, the collar. So that then gets placed on here. That creates a collar. I block this. This one doesn't fit because it hasn't the right holes. Here it has now. And here it fits. And then I can block this brim. Then I block separately the crown. The two get joined here on the neck. In the straw, in the felt, it's called the neck. In the piece of wood, it's called the collar. Well done.